we all know that organizations are struggling with the skills gap and finding people for key roles within their organization. We also know that expats play a really critical role in that talent source and overcoming the skills gaps. In fact, we found that in our last study in immigration trends that 30% of employers are actually expecting to increase their foreign national talent, with the number one reason, the skills gap. And so what we wanted to understand is really from a attraction and retention standpoint for this key talent source, what is it that attracts them to an organization? What benefits, what cultural aspects of the organization attracts them, and most importantly, what retains them and keeps them there? And so we commissioned a study with Harris Poll to really understand from temporary visa holders as well as green card holders exactly sentiments around that. So over 700 are in the study, and ultimately bringing out those key aspects of that retention and acquisition story that we hope empowers employers with key information. So we've talked a lot about the skills gap and the key role that foreign national or expat talent really plays in that challenge for companies. In fact, 57% of expats actually hold a bachelor's degree or higher. On the flip side though, what we haven't talked about, and I think what this study really uncovers, is the cultural implications. We learned before at the immigration trend study that not beyond the skills gap, there's a competitive element, there's a diversification of thought and experience that foreign nationals really bring to an organization, but they're also a cultural fit. In fact, 70% of STEM expats actually feel like they fit in with the organization. They're more loyal. 1 in 3 expats believe that they will be with their current organization in the next 5 years. And when you compare that to some of the other stats around how many people, 70% in some studies of people that are open to or actively looking for new jobs, you can start to see really what an important, valuable resource that this talent is for organizations. So what attracts expats to organizations is not too unfamiliar from what everyone else is attracted to, right, in an opportunity. So we found that salary, job responsibilities, the job itself are all really critical. But what is unique for this workforce that we did uncover that I think is important to point out is that the immigration side, or what other benefits beyond just the typical ones, actually do attract them to an organization. In fact, 70% of expats say that when an organization has a green card policy, they are more likely to be attracted and come to that organization. On the flip side, 60% of expats say that they got a very specific immigration-related perk package from their employer. So this includes everything from transportation to housing to dependent visa sponsorship. And so I think it's really critical to take a step back to not only understand what would empower, what would attract an employee in general, but also what's specific to this population that you could really differentiate your organization and have a competitive advantage there. So attrition is a concern for employers. And what we found is what keeps expats at organizations is not unlike what keeps other workers at organizations. So salary, compensation, job responsibilities are all key to that. I think what is a little bit unique for this talent pool is because they are so heavy in STEM, and specifically the expats that are in STEM areas, 21% are getting calls from recruiters at least 1, if not 4 times a month. And that's actually quite a bit higher than what we found for non-STEM expats that are only getting calls in that same 1 to 4 times a month, about 12% of the expats in that realm. And so when you think about that, what's going to lure them away? Well, number one, 44% said, well, a higher compensation will do that, a higher salary, not too surprising. And then right underneath that, what's going to keep them there is job responsibilities, growth, getting more responsibilities than they had it before, and then of course benefits is right behind that. So treating them just the same as other people within your organization is really critical. Understanding what motivates them individually. Is it career path? Is it money? Is it recognition? All of those will play a role, and HR knows this better than anyone else. So we're really excited about the Global Talent Perspective study. This is really one of the only studies of its kind out in the marketplace today, which was a big reason why we wanted to commission the study. We think it's extremely important for organizations to think about their talent in terms of their global talent pool. In order to do that, they have to understand perspectives of all types of talent, whether that be, people, citizens within the United States, expats that are currently here, or people that are coming over from abroad. And so we wanted to pull out these perspectives, but most importantly, really incite conversations both internally about this talent pool, but also within HR networks about really getting into the minds of expats, both temporary visa holders and green card holders, into what is it that attracts and retains them into organizations, and how can they leverage that and really create actionable takeaways using this data.